So I have been on the road traveling and in airplanes and all of it, and doing cooking at a relative's home. And I have learned so much about easy weight loss. That is the greatest gift. And it's really simple. So I wanted to share it with you. Maybe you learned some things while I was gone too.
I definitely learned things, but I don't know if it's easy weight loss.
Well, what it boils down to is so simple. We've been salt, oil, and sugar free for a while now. And I started adding back after a time a nut and seed dressing that we would use on our salads at night and on our leafy green big serving with veggies for lunch. And while I was away, I didn't create that at all. In fact, I would use occasionally just a very plain balsamic vinegar on my salad. The greens I used mostly in stir fries, so I didn't even need anything on those, and they were fabulous in stir fries. I learned a lot with that because it would add a definite depth of flavor and yumminess to everything I cooked. Like I made a stir fry with brown rice, butter beans, which were fabulous. And then I put in zucchini and a lot of greens, a lot of greens, and a few cashews that I had. So I did add some nuts to that dish, but I was careful how many I put in there. And I had avocado, maybe half an avocado once in the whole week. So I really didn't try to do it. It just kind of happened. It wasn't available, so I didn't think about it. Limited avocado and nuts and seeds and had no nut and seed dressing. And I just noticed how quickly the pounds fell off with that way of eating when you eat whole food plant-based.
And it's interesting because you didn't have like a lot of excess pounds that
No.
seemed like they needed to come off.
Yeah. But I really noticed that my pants were even baggier than they normally are. And I love that. I just think it's so neat. And I felt great. There was no deprivation of any kind. So, what I want to do is encourage you to try it. Just drop the oil, first of all, from your cooking and just use a little water if you're sauteing or veggie stock. That works great. And that in and of itself, you'll begin to notice tremendous value. And then the next step is drop the salt. And if you're going to add salt, add it after you cook just a little bit on top, but I would give it up entirely. That may take a little while for your taste buds to adjust. But when they do, then you taste the subtle sweetness in all the food that salt masks. You don't taste it. And the difficulty with salt is it increases your appetite.
Not to mention your blood pressure.
Yeah, not to mention your blood pressure. So you want to eat more than really you would normally be satiated with. So those are the two things. And the nuts, really eliminate them 2 or 3 days in a row and see what happens. Or have 2 or 3, no more than that, and see what happens. And avocado, cut it way back, maybe one avocado a week. Try it for a couple of weeks and see what happens to your weight. You won't believe it. It's so effortless and easy.
Yeah, and I'll give my take on how this works. Because, like I said, Connie, it didn't look like she had any weight she needed to lose. But it takes me back to the kind of aha moment I had. It's like a light bulb went on when I heard somebody say, I mean, look out in nature. You don't see overweight animals in nature. I'm going, oh, yeah. So then I started to put together this idea that, yeah, what they're eating is all whole foods. There's no industry preparing food for the deers and the raccoons and the squirrels. You know, they're just, it's whole food, plant, well, it's whole food, mostly plant-based for most animals. But then I began to see that it's not just that it's whole foods, but that there's a certain proportion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates that they get in the wild, which would, I assume, apply to our ancient ancestors as well, that this body evolved around. So working with what's available to how can this body thrive? So evolution has worked to provide systems that work around the profile of nutrients that are naturally available, because that was millions of years. And we've been in this kind of industrial food program for, mainly a century, and, and even like grinding flour and that's been several centuries, but it's still very minuscule compared to how long our body evolved with this nutrient profile that had so much less fat and so much less protein than what we get in the standard American diet.
Yeah.
I was thinking back to when I was young. If we had sunflower seeds, you got a package of sunflower seeds, they were in the shell. And we loved that. You'd suck on it and you'd break it and then you get the little kernel. And so you do that for a while. And how many sunflower seeds did I actually eat? I mean, I'm probably done with my sunflower seeds at about 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I can go to the fridge, I've got this bag. It's like, whoo, and just like that, it all can go in. So what I see and what Connie's sharing is that the proportions that we eat, even when we're SOS-free, so to speak, it's so easy to kind of break out of what would be the natural profile of additional fats and protein. And so we come back to, so I look at Connie, I don't notice that she's lost weight. So she pointed out, it's a little bag here. I go, well, look at that, isn't that so? But it doesn't look like she's unhealthy skinny. It's kind of like you look at animals in nature. It's like they don't look unhealthy skinny. They don't look unhealthy fat. They just look trim. That's what I see with Connie. So it was a good learning. It was a good learning.
Yeah. So give it a go, because even if you just do a week, you will notice quite a difference and you want to do it longer. Now, the recipe. The recipe is so good. It's part of the stir fry that I just described. So it's greens and beans, very quick to make and delicious. The curry paste really gives it the flavor that you would enjoy. So try it out and see what you think. You can always add grain and other veggies if you want to make it more robust and more filling. But it's delicious. I had a little bit left that I had on the plane with some baked sweet potatoes and yams. Oh, it was so good. Just really good. Thanks for joining.
Okay, we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.